For the first time since May of 2023, so a couple of months off of a full 3 years, Manchester United are third place in the Premier League. Is it Michael Carrick magic? Is it simply relinquishing the team of the shackles that Ruben Amorim's approach put on some players? Two things can be true. Two things are true in this case. But one thing that has been a constant through all of it has been Bruno Fernandes. Not just his existence, that's not enough to inspire positive outcomes, but his performances no matter what state Manchester United have been in.
Bruno Fernandes on the right-hand side, bends one in, shoots, goal! He's done it again!
Funnily enough, with his current goals and assists output, he's actually on track to have a best ever Premier League season. His ability to both score and set up his teammates perhaps only bettered by his availability to the club. And you know what they say. I don't know who they are in this case, to be honest with you. I don't follow American football, but they say that the best ability is availability. And since joining Manchester United, how many matches has Bruno Fernandes missed? According to Transfermarkt, 6. 6 matches, 50% of those being from this season. In a football age of soft tissue injuries, this doesn't make any sense. In fact, there's even more unbelievable stats when it comes to injuries or his lack thereof. We'll get to that later, because this isn't the Mayo Clinic YouTube channel, it's my channel, Rabona TV. And I'm not a doctor, I'm just a dumb football YouTuber. But the weird thing is that whenever people are talking about the best midfielders in the world, you just do not hear his name mentioned. Why is that? Let's get into it. Absolutely leave a comment with your take on Bruno and this topic in general.
Atenção, vai para dentro, vai para o remate forte e o golo! Marca o Sporting! Bruno Fernandes!
Now granted, when he was with Sporting, it wasn't as inconsistent as Man United at the playing level. Off of the pitch, it was wild. I mean, supporters attacking the players in their dressing room. Bas Dost took a belt buckle to the head. Chaotic, absolutely chaotic in that sense. However, Sporting were still successful on the pitch, and that was thanks in large part to Bruno, who had to carry them at times, who they can honestly thank for their cup double during the 2018-19 season. Hell, they could even, maybe thank him for assuring that they had a shot at Europa League qualification that season. They were not good in the league. They finished in 4th, 22 points behind Porto, who were in 1st. But in the cup competitions, Bruno was something else. Okay, well, the League Cup, his performances were very strong. Not a lot to write home about as far as goal contributions, but he absolutely played a role in Sporting's League Cup triumph. The Taça de Portugal, however, he carried. He really carried Sporting through that competition. He scored in every single round except the final, where he only picked up an assist. But the reason why I'm pointing towards Sporting being so thankful for his contributions, the semi-final. Now, in this cup competition, which is the most coveted in Portugal, similar to how the FA Cup is more coveted than the League Cup in England, the semi-finals are the only round that's 2 legs. Sporting were up against Benfica in the semi-finals, and not only did he score an unbelievable free kick in the first leg, a goal he had no business scoring, but he followed that up with a weak foot banger in the second leg to put Sporting through on away goals. They'd go on to win the final against Porto, making for a cup double that season, where Bruno, a midfielder, had 50 goal contributions in 53 appearances. Ridiculous output. And you have to remember, this was a Sporting side that was pre-Amorim, a Sporting side that was pre-sustained success, a team that was still in the midst of a league title drought that stretched all the way back to the early 2000s. They hadn't won a single Taça de Liga or League Cup until he arrived before the 2017-18 season. How Sporting was run was improving while Bruno was there. Of course, they are unrecognizable now compared to the chaotic days when he had arrived at the club and just prior to that. But this is a man who lifts clubs, a man who gives a team the best shot at success even when they aren't at their best, not at their healthiest. Now, of course, given this, he could never stay in Portugal along with these kinds of performances. There was no chance. Now, when he arrived at United, comparatively, with the benefit of hindsight, of course, United wasn't that insane asylum at the time. Yes, United had been sliding, but things can always get worse, right? Ten Hag into Amorim was a particularly dark period results-wise, except for in the cups, man. Bruno, the cup goblin, strikes again, but even before that, Bruno was putting in great performances for United and quickly becoming their most important player. Something that people don't celebrate enough is how he transitioned from Portugal to the Premier League with ease. This man stepped off of the plane in Manchester and went to work straight away. Not only go to work, but go to work effectively. United went unbeaten in the second half of that season under Oli, and Bruno was a big part of their success. He scored 8 goals and had 7 assists in just 14 appearances in the Premier League. For a mid-season arrival, almost unheard of levels of success, and this is a midfielder, remember. In the following season, he performed throughout once again, another 45 goal contributions for 2020-21, 21-22, tough. Really tough. That was the season Oli was sacked and United collapsed into 6th. Under Ten Hag, he didn't have that high yield that he used to. His unbelievable, unobtainable numbers dropped off to more humble numbers. My God. Each season still managing to get his goal contributions in the high 20s, season upon season upon season. When you look at his seasons versus someone like a Kevin De Bruyne, the amount of hype that surrounds Bruno versus KDB isn't comparable. De Bruyne was given the praise that he wholly deserved, and Bruno hasn't really. It's not one should be more than the other, it's that Bruno hasn't got his just desserts. And he's done all of these unbelievable things while never really picking up injuries. In all of his time with Manchester United, he missed just 6 matches, and 50% of those missed matches came this season. And that first match that he missed with United broke a streak of never missing a club match for any of his previous clubs: Novara, Udinese, Sampdoria, and Sporting. Injuries aren't exactly something you can hold against a player, but I think that you absolutely should give plaudits to a player who is always available, who takes care of themselves to a level where they can go an entire season at times without missing a single match, where they are the first name on the team sheet, they are the most important cog in the team, they provide the most goal contributions, and they are always available. There is some luck to it, or misfortune for those who can't stay healthy, but it's invaluable to have someone like Bruno who's always ready to go and always available. Now, this season, he's already on track to have one of his best Premier League performances yet. In fact, to have the best Premier League season of his career when it comes to goal contributions. He's sitting on 21 goal contributions right now after 26 appearances, 7 goals and 14 assists in the Premier League, so he's already beat last season. And his best ever season was the 2020-21 season, where he had 29 goal contributions. But it's not just the goal contributions. Now, especially since he's played in a more advanced role again under Carrick, he's reminding everybody that he is indeed an elite playmaker. Across the top 5 leagues, nobody has created more chances than Bruno Fernandes, higher than Federico Di Marco, who's having an unbelievable season, Michael Olise, Lamine Yamal, Arda Güler, whoever you want, put them on the table. Bruno has created more. Not only that, but with 14 assists so far this season, he is on track to have an all-time top 10 ranking season when it comes to assists. All he needs are 3 more, and he will crack into the top 10, and with 9 remaining, his chances are high. The best ever season is held by De Bruyne with 20 assists. But the question remains of why isn't he looked at as a brilliant talent of Premier League history? Why isn't he seen amongst the elites of the recent Premier League age, brushing shoulders with a Kevin De Bruyne? I've even seen someone like Martin Odegaard receive tons of praise for his genius, more so than Bruno has, which feels a bit like pretty privilege, doesn't it? And the reason for some of this lack of hype behind Bruno comes down to the fact that Manchester United have been a bit of a circus on and off since he's joined them, with a couple of cups sprinkled in there in between it all. It's not just about winning things, because with a League Cup and an FA Cup, he has done that with United. But the chaos that has surrounded Man United for the last while, it overshadows everything. Last season, they were a team that was just above the drop zone. The season before that was their second lowest finish in Premier League history. They've been going downhill. All of this casts a shadow over Bruno that no matter his achievements, because he isn't in a winning side, a side that until recently hasn't really challenged the top of the table, he isn't taken as seriously. But I think that this season is the turning point, not for United to win the league. Sorry guys, not yet. But for Bruno to get the respect that he deserves. Now, after they inevitably hire Carrick full-time for next season and then sack him partway through the season and continue the cycle of chaos, then he'll go back to living in the shadows and to never... Guys, thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you next week for another video. Respect Bruno. Later.